Do you hesitate in negotiating your salary with your prospective recruiter? Do you think it will make you look greedy? Do you struggle in giving out the initial expectation when the recruiter asks you? Do you struggle in breaking the barriers when the negotiations get stuck? If yes, then this is the video which you must watch for salary negotiations, or for that matter, job offer negotiations. Because what we're saying in this video, you won't find them elsewhere. Many believe that getting the salary you truly deserve is just a myth. The reality, however, is more complex. The truth is, salaries often don't reflect the true value. Some are underpaid while others are overpaid. But does this mean you are powerless in shaping your own salary? Far from it. At Test Tribe community also, we got a lot of questions from our community members about salary or job offer negotiation. Some were worried about should they even negotiate or not, while some were worried about at what point should they stop negotiating. Some were worried about how to answer the initial expectation question. So here we are with a video which talks about the tips and tricks for job offer negotiation. So before we dive deep into the tips and tricks of negotiation, it is important to note some important points before even you start doing job offer negotiation. The first misconception people have is that they shouldn't negotiate. A lot of people in India in general don't negotiate their job offers or salaries for that matter. The reason is they feel that they will sound greedy if they negotiate their job offers. They already have a satisfaction of whatever they're getting, or they don't know what their current market value is. At the same time, they're also fearful of losing the job offer, more so in a downturn macroeconomic environment like today. But our sincere advice to all the listeners of this video is that you should start to negotiate your job offers. Every recruiter, every hiring manager has kept some room for negotiating job offers. So it's important for you to start negotiating job offers. But for that to begin, you should be knowing what's your current worth. And to know your current worth, there are multiple sources. So you can review the salaries of your organization where you're interviewing on Glassdoor, on Indeed, on PayScale, or other such platforms. You can ask your network, your professional network on LinkedIn or other places about what kind of salaries can you expect. You can ask your friends. You can ask your previous hiring managers. So leverage your network, leverage these platforms to know what your value is, to what your worth is, and then start negotiating. Now that you know your worth before interviewing or even after interviewing, so HR will ask you your expected CTC. In some cases, they will ask you before they start the interviews. In some cases, they will start after the interview process is over and you are almost close to getting the things done. In this case, before revealing your expected CTC, you should first ask these two questions. Is this an offer round? Is this an offer being made, or is it just an information call? If it's just an information call, you can give a more generic answer like, I am expecting industry average or industry standard salary. But however, if it's an offer being made to you, or if it's or you're close to getting an offer, you should be revealing a range of salaries which you're expecting. So you should give a minimum to a maximum range. The reason to give a range at this moment is, and not to give expected absolute number, is that the first offer becomes the anchor offer. So the entire negotiation will revolve around the first number somebody throws. So if you are throwing the first number, the entire job offer negotiation will revolve around that number. But if you are throwing a range, you have a larger room of negotiating your salaries and hence the job offer. Now that we have discussed that we should be offering a range to the recruiter when they ask about the expected CTC close to making an offer, let's now discuss about how should we communicate this range to the recruiter or the hiring manager. So instead of saying I'm expecting 4 lakhs to 6 lakhs, or I want to make 4 lakhs to 6 lakhs per annum, you should be saying in a more collaborative way, which makes a log rule. You can say it in a way like, I'm interviewing for positions which are offering 4 lakhs to 6 lakhs per annum. What does this indicate? This indicates that A, you are open to negotiation, you're making your first attempt to let the log roll. You're not trying to make a stalemate in the beginning itself. At the same time, you're also communicating that you potentially might have more than one offer at the same time, which gives them an indication that you should be closing this offer soon, and you will have more negotiating power as compared to without saying it in the right words. While negotiating, it's always good to have an alternative in hand. An alternative gives you more power in negotiating. But a lot of people don't understand what an alternative could be. Most of them are mistaken that another job offer is the only alternative they have. Right, that's right. Another job offer is certainly an alternative which they can use for their advantage while negotiating. But also remember that if you're working currently, your current job also is an alternative. Because let's say, even if you don't go through the job you're interviewing for, you already have a job work and that exists as an alternative for you. So always understand that what alternatives do you have in hand. Sometimes the alternatives will be around you and you will not know that these are actual alternatives, but having an alternative at place in hand gives you more power in negotiating a job offer. So understand what your alternative is. It could be another job offer, it could be the existing job offer which you're already doing, or it could be some other career plans which you have, which may be a higher studies plan or starting a plan. Since I've given the first figure or the range to the recruiter already, they'll most likely come out with a counter offer to you. If that counter offer suits your initial expectation, then that's a separate story. But if that doesn't suit your initial expectation and you want to make a counter offer from your side, it's always recommended to wait between 24 to 48 hours. This serves multiple purpose. It gives indication to the organization that you are a thinking person. You have thoughtfully come back and not being an impulsive decision maker or an impulsive negotiator. At the same time, it also gives you time to think about your initial expectation, what you had initially thought out of, and gives you time to research more, which could be through platforms or to talk to a few friends or to a few people in the professional network. So always it's recommended to wait for 24 to 48 hours before making your next counter offer. Now that the negotiation is on, but for some reasons the HR is not able to match the initial expectation of salary which you gave them. It might be due to organizational reasons which they have, but this is an organization which you really want to work for. It might be due to their good work culture, their good employer branding, or the kind of work which you might get there. So instead of just being adamant or taking a position on a certain salary range, you have to relook salary negotiation as a subset of a larger part which is called job offer negotiation. So a lot of us make mistakes of understanding that when you negotiate for a job change, you're just negotiating for salary. You are negotiating for a larger thing which is your job offer. So here we are sharing some actionable tricks into what other things you can negotiate on, and hence it's important for you to make sure that you keep watching this video till the end. So some other points which you can negotiate on. If you're relocating from a different city, you can ask for a relocation bonus. You can also ask for a one-time bonus at the time of joining or after 1 year based on certain agreed performance parameters. You can negotiate on a joining date. At times you might have been working for years at stretch and you might want to take a 1 month break. You can negotiate for a joining date also. You can also negotiate for designations. Most of us in the umbrella of salaries forget or are not aware about what designation they should be at a certain experience level. So you can also negotiate for designations. At senior positions, you can negotiate for compensation structure. That this is how I want my structure to look like, which could save you more taxes. At senior positions again, you can negotiate for reporting structures. Who's your reporting manager going to be? It gives you a view into what kind of growth you might see in the near future. In the post-COVID world, you can also negotiate for remote versus hybrid versus in-office environment. So think broad, just don't think from the purview of salaries. Think of job change negotiation as a job offer negotiation and not just as salary negotiation. At times in any negotiation, not just job offer negotiation, it's important to know who are you negotiating with. Is that person even the decision maker? Is that person the influencer? So at times for job offer negotiation, it's important to know what's the decision maker's view and if possible, negotiate with the decision maker itself. In a job offer negotiation, the decision maker could either be the hiring manager or the recruiter. The sooner you find who this person is and can find a way to reach out to that person itself, the negotiation will become easier and faster. While we are discussing certain tips and tricks of job offer negotiation, it's imperative on us to also give you certain advices of caution. Our first advice is don't overplay the hand. If you're a frequent poker player, you have the habit of overplaying your hand, but do not repeat the same in job offer negotiation. For example, you figured out through job platforms or network that your current market worth is between 6 to 9 lakhs per annum. In this case, asking a opening salary range of 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs per annum is overplaying the hand. So don't overplay the hand. Our second advice is do not take positions. That means do not get adamant at a certain thing. For example, communicating that I want 4 lakhs to 6 lakhs per annum versus I really want to make this work, but this is what is stopping me. So if we can solve for this, I'll be more than happy to get onboarded and commit myself to this job offer only. So these were some important advices of caution which are actionable and which you should be implementing while you do the next job offer negotiation. Now that the job offer negotiation is moving near to closure, it could move in two directions. The first one could be that the offer you were expecting has been made and you both have come to a common ground. In this case, thank and bank. Remember, you have to work with the same company again. You eventually have to work with the same company because once you accept the offer, you will be joining them, you will working with the same hiring managers. So remember that you have to work with the same company. So thank yourself and do not negotiate any further. In case it's not going the way you desired it to go, our sincere advice is don't burn the bridges. This is a small world, or we operate in a small world, a small industry, and a further smaller domain. So it's important to keep the bridges alive. If not today, you might end up striking a deal someday later. So don't burn the bridges. And in this case, and in first case, if you get the offer you desired for, thank and back. Look, I know that this is not the first salary negotiation video that you're watching, but I also think that you need to stop going into this YouTube rabbit hole. How do you do this? By implementation. So here's an advice. Grab a notebook, jot down all the tips from the starting of this video and make sure that you put these strategies, tips and tricks into practice. Make sure that this is the last salary negotiation video you're going to watch.